seen these fun shaker designs online and ever wanted to try to put one together, I'm going to show you how to do it in today's tutorial. I'll link this exact design down below, but I did take a little piece off so you'll notice it looks a little different. But these are really fun. They have little shakers inside of them. I just ordered some polymer clay ones off of Amazon. I'm using some Barely Art glue. I got this one with the precision tip, and then I recommend having some clips. I just got these ones from the Dollar Tree. They're great. And I'm just using some cardstock that I got at Michael's. Now I'll link everything that I'm using, including the design, down below if you want to make one for yourself. It's really fun and honestly, definitely an adventure. I've made a couple before, but this one was a little bit different than some of the other styles that I have done, but I'm really excited to show you how to do this. Now be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube, that way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a shaker card. These are really fun. A lot of questions I get on these, and honestly, I think they're a lot easier than people think. It's just a matter of knowing how to layer it and kind of how to assemble. So we're going to start with a SVG, and all you'll have to do is download it. It's super simple. These files aren't zipped, so you'll be able to upload them into Design Space right away. Over in Cricut Design Space, to upload your file, you're simply just going to go to Upload over on the left-hand side, and then choose this Upload Image green button up here. Now you can drag your file or browse for it. I'll browse for mine. I have it in my Cricut folder under my 4th of July, and right here it's this SVG. I'm going to select that. Now it's going to look a little blurry and funny right here, but don't worry about it. It will be fine once you upload it into Design Space. Go ahead and click Continue, and then we're going to click Upload from here, and it's just going to put this right into our canvas. Now, I will say that this file threw me for a little bit of a loop for a second because one thing I noticed was this white square over here is actually part of the popsicle. I'm not sure why it's not over there, but it's totally okay. It's not a big deal. That's just kind of one of the weird little things. But I am going to change a couple small things here on this design just so that we can make it a little easier for us. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is to ungroup it. This has a ton of groups in it. So if I click this little down arrow, you're going to see that we just have group after group after group after group. Now we are not going to ungroup every single thing, but we're going to ungroup a couple things just to make designing and like cutting this a little bit easier. So I'm going to click ungroup, and that's just going to give us all the different groups. Now, what's kind of fun about this is you can start to pull things apart with the groups, but this is one that we're going to mess with in just a minute. So we'll come back to that. That'll be like the final thing. So I'm going to scooch that just out of the way. Now, when we're looking at this, we do have, again, a ton of groups. So you can see here that we've got this ungroup option. I want to click that. That's just going to ungroup our groups, which I know sounds crazy. But now we're going to be able to kind of look at these different pieces and figure out what we want to do. Now with this firework, I'm going to leave this guy all the way that he's fine. He looks good. That's the way it should be. Same with this ice cream cone. I'm going to leave that as is. But what I want to do is this star. I actually don't really need this red star unless I really, really care to make it super 3D. But since I don't, I'm going to get rid of that extra red star and just hide it. And you'll see it basically looks the same. The blue and white will pop out, but the red won't, and I think it'll be fine. But I'll just kind of pull this apart so you can see all of the different groups here that we have. We've got the popsicle. Again, that white thing is part of the popsicle. We've got the wording. You can get rid of that if you don't want it. You can just leave it so that it's like, you know, this. If you don't want to put that big July 4th there, this is what it would look like, and it's really up to you. You can change that. You can get rid of it. I think I'm actually going to get rid of it because I don't like it. It's not for me. I like it better as is. So I'm going to delete the July 4th and just get rid of it. Now, again, you can really do whatever you want with this. Cut this in any colors that you want to. Maybe you don't want it to make it July 4th themed, so you can definitely change up the colors. But what we also need to do, I'm going to scooch all of this stuff out of the way, because this is a shaker. There are not enough parts right here. So let me ungroup this really quick, because this is only 2 parts and we actually need quite a few things. Now we need this piece because we need this to both be the backer and the clear acetate. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to make one of them white because that's going to be our solid background. Then we actually need 3 of these loops here, these like rings total. So I just need to add 2 more, and I'm going to make those rings white because they're going to be on the inside. They're going to help stabilize the
shaker piece so that it can hold on to things. So you do need to add a couple things to this design in order to get it to work correctly. So I will say that's kind of a pain. I'm going to go ahead and take all these. I'm just going to align them and center them just so they are out of my way and a little bit easier to kind of maneuver. Then again, we've got our little outside ring, and then we can just sort of put stuff back in place just so we make sure we have everything that we need. Plus, we're going to resize this. So if I'm going to resize, what I want to do, I'm going to actually go ahead and ungroup this so that I can fix where that white piece is sitting. And like I said, this has groups inside of groups, so you're going to have to ungroup a couple times. Now, with this sitting the way that it is, I'm going to go ahead and flip it horizontally, and that'll have it sit the correct direction. And I'll just put it right back on to the popsicle. Like I said, this is going to help with resizing, because when we resize, we need to make sure that everything is sized at the exact same time. That way, everything is going to fit correctly together. Now, nothing has to be perfect on here. Your sizing doesn't have to be exact, but you do want to make sure that you get everything kind of lined back up. Now, we are going to talk about those little teeth that I moved. So let's grab these. Now, we have 3 sets of these, which we do need. However, you're going to need to score these, and I think adding a scoring line is going to be the way to go. It's just going to make stuff so much easier. So to do that, you just go under your shapes, and you want to find the line. I take my line, and I rotate it by using the rotate option up here at the top, and I rotate it 90 degrees. Now, these are about 6 inches wide, so we're going to just change the sizing on this. It's going to be under height because it doesn't change for some reason, but I'm going to make these 6.05 wide. And then I am going to push this over so it's sitting on top of this. And I'm going to zoom in because it is a little hard to see to line this up, because you don't want it right against the teeth. You actually want it down a little bit from where the teeth are, because when you fold this over, you're going to fold it over past where the teeth sit. You're not just folding each individual tooth over. Now I'm going to duplicate that line, and I'm going to just add it down here at the bottom. And that looks pretty good. I think we're good there. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this. I'm going to actually delete these 2, because why would I line up the lines 3 more times? That seems crazy, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and attach this first, because you want to make sure that the score lines stay with your teeth. And then I'm going to just duplicate it 2 more times. Now, again, you can absolutely attach these again or group them, but attach is what I'm going to do, just so that it doesn't waste a ton of space when it's cutting these out, because these are kind of a weird shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach. That's going to tell Design Space to make sure that these are held together. Now, another thing that I'm going to double check is my material colors. So under material colors, I want to make sure all the blues are the same and all the reds are the same. You can see right here, we've got multiple blues, and I don't want that. I just want one single blue. So I want to drag that under the same blue so that they're all the same. So you just drag your design under the blue that you want it to be. So now we should have just one shade of blue. Now you can see that red, we have 2 different shades. So again, I'm just going to drag and drop that shade under the material color 4 here. And now we've got just one shade of red, one shade of white. This is our clear. I'm going to change the color on that so it just stands out a little bit more. And then we have the cones, we have the stripes, we have the little other part of the cone, and then you have all of your blues. But you can see I still need to contain that one into this. And sometimes you just got to drag it a couple times because it doesn't necessarily want to work. But they all looked like they were the same color, but they weren't. So that's just another thing we needed to check. Now I'm going to go ahead, zoom back out, and I want to just check what size this is, because I don't want it to be absolutely enormous, but I also don't want it to be super tiny. So one thing I can do to help with this sizing is I'm going to move the teeth so they're on top of this, so that when we size this down a little bit, everything will size so that it's super easy to work with. And that way it's not going to be like 10 inches. I think that's a little big. I think we'll do like kind of big just so you can see it, but I think we'll go closer to like 6.5 by 8. I think that is a good size. Now, all I want to do is I'm going to click save, and I'm going to call this cake topper and click the save button. And then I'm going to show you how we can save some material with this, because you're going to be able to save a little bit, which is kind of nice. So if I click make over here, it's going to bring up all of our page here. Now, You'll notice that like with these little pieces, you could absolutely cut them inside of these rings. We're never going to use the inside of these rings for anything. So if you want to save yourself a little bit of paper, you can just put these inside of the rings. Now they're not all going to fit. The bow won't fit, but this little firework would. And then you can kind of tuck and put things in spots just to kind of save yourself a little bit of paper. And you can do the same thing here with the red, if anything will fit in between here. So like the firework probably won't fit, but the ice cream and the little topper to the popsicle would fit. And then I can probably move the firework over. So you can just sort of move things around to get them to save yourself a little bit of space. Once you've moved everything around, simply click continue and it's going to connect to your Cricut. Now I'm going to be cutting these on a couple different settings because this one is all of our white pieces, but remember this one's going to be a piece of acetate. I am going to have to change the cut setting. I'm going to go to browse all materials and show you how to do this. And I'm just going to search the first couple letters of acetate. And when you see that, you're going to see that it'll come up with like foil acetate, chantilly lace acetate. I want to choose this acetate setting. And if you ever want to see what your material settings are, down here at the very bottom, you can see material settings and you can see your different setting like information. So this is 319. It's going to cut it 2 times with the fine point blade. Now we are going to definitely double check that before we unload. We might need to cut it a couple times because acetate can be a little bit finicky. But everything else I'm going to cut on the medium cardstock setting. So let's head over to the Cricut. We're going to get all of our paper and all of our acetate loaded. We're going to get everything assembled. I'm going to show you how to make a really fun shaker design.
We're ready to start cutting out the cardstock for the shaker cake topper, whatever you want to make it into. So I'm going to load this on to a light grid mat. I'm cutting all of these on the medium cardstock setting. Like I said, I moved some stuff around so we could save a little bit of paper. And I do need to change out my blade, I just realized. So I'm going to take out my rotary blade from a previous project, put in my fine point, and go ahead and load. I know it's really hard to see this, but there is an acetate sheet here, and I'm going to link the ones that I'm using down below. But one thing that's really important to remember is that your acetate has a protective coating on both sides. So you want to make sure that you pull that off prior to cutting it, because the acetate needs to be all on its lonesome. You also want to make sure that you're using a pretty sticky mat for this. And this is the Cricut brand acetate. Like I said, I'll link it down below. It was a pretty good deal, so I grabbed it, and it's like a good thickness for what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. You want to make sure this is well held down onto your mat. You can use a brayer if you want. I'm just going to use the heel of my hand and rub that down, and then I'll pull the machine in so you can see. I have this just set to the acetate setting, and this cuts with your regular fine point blade, so I'm just using my normal fine point blade. Just going to clean that little fuzz off of it from the cardstock. Go ahead and load this. We'll let this cut out, and then I'm going to show you how to assemble your shaker card. Now before I unload, I do always want to just check that cut. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the acetate back here and just see that it cut all the way through, which it did. Again, I know it's a little hard to see it since it is clear, but there's nothing I can do about that. It has to be clear for us to use it. I'm going to go ahead and flip my mat over to remove this, because I don't want to get rid of this sheet, because we still have a lot of good acetate to use on this page. So we're going to make sure we keep this as a extra piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the circle off. I'll get all of our other pieces, and then we can assemble everything. The first thing we're starting with are our little strips here. So with these, you want to make sure that you have all of the score lines on the same side, which I do now. And all we're going to do is glue this little tab here to the flat end here. And I'm going to use some of the precision raft glue from Barely Art, and I'm using the precision tip since these are so small. I don't want to make a big mess if I can avoid it. Now with this, we're just gonna glue them together. And again, you're gonna try to get them lined up pretty straight and even. This glue does allow you to adjust and move things around a bit, so don't fret if it's not perfect the first time. You can scooch them around. You also don't need a lot of glue. I literally just put the tiniest little dab, and that will do ya. So once I've got those lined up, pretty happy with that. Yeah, I'm good there. I'm gonna scooch this out of the way because while we're doing and waiting for that to dry, we can kind of assemble our design together as we wish it to be. So again, I'm just going to use the glue. You don't need a ton. I'm barely putting like any in this line, but then I just put that on, and then you're going to place this on top, and you can wiggle it around to get it lined up. And I actually think I put it on backwards, but that's okay. I don't care. It's fine. I wasn't paying attention. I totally put that on backwards. It's fine. But you can also do things like getting the popsicle all set together. You can glue the ice creams on. You can get all your stars, your bow, whatever the case may be. We're going to just kind of get everything glued up so that it is ready to go. So I'm just going to speed through this. I don't think you need to watch me glue everything down. Now we need to fold over the tabs, which are the little teeth parts on this, which is why we put those score lines in. So this may not be super duper simple, but you're just gonna try to fold along that score line. I'm just gonna go ahead and fold up all the tabs here, and the fold line, I'm just gonna follow along that best I can. You don't wanna fold them all the way over, but you do wanna give them a fold, and I'm just trying to fold along that line. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all done, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. All right, now that all the teeth are folded up so that we have like a ridge line, you need one of your rings. You're going to use one of the white rings, and what we're going to do is glue the teeth all around the white ring. Now it can help if you have a clasp. I don't know that I do. I'm going to look and see if I've got like a clip. Guess who has some clips? These might be a little big, but I think I can make them work. So this needs to be on the outside of this ring. So it'll go around it like that. I hope you can see that, but it's going to go around it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dabby-doo of glue. It really doesn't matter which direction you go, but we're just going to put a couple of dabs of glue, and I'm just doing like the first couple of teeth. Now you can of course do this way too if it's easier, like putting it on to the bottom, but you want that ring portion to be on the inside of the teeth, if that makes sense. I've got glue all over my hand now. And this is why having a clip is super important, because like I'm not going to sit here and hold this for like 5 minutes. And it's like really wiggly, so having a clip can make all the difference in the world. And obviously I am not a master of paper crafting. You guys know this if you've watched me. I struggle, bust my way through a lot of paper crafts. And this is apparently going to also be one that I'm going to struggle with. I have made one other 3D like shaker thing, and it was not something that had like all these little teeth. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to keep trying. Everybody is, everybody starts somewhere. And I think it's so important for you to know that it's okay if it's not perfect your first time. And like, yeah, I'm going to struggle. Like you can see me struggle busting right here. All right, we got that held down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow this to dry a little bit, because that way I'm not manipulating it too much. And then I'm going to go around and get all the rest of this glued on. That's dried for a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and just go around this. And again, you can flip this over if that's easier for you. And you can put the little glue onto the teeth this way, and then just sort of roll it around. But as you're doing this, you're going to want to be careful, and you're going to go slow. You don't want to like put them all on because it could wiggle around too much. So I'm going to just sort of let it sit for a minute with all these ones glued down, and then I'll go all the way around and I'll show you how to put on your next piece that's going to really lock this in place. Full transparency, I had to cut another set of teeth because mine was not wide enough. I don't know why, but whatever. So now what I want to do is I'm going to glue the blue ring, which this is going to be the ring that goes under the main part of our design, to the top where the teeth are. And I'm going to do that now so that I can use the acetate when I put that inside to help press everything down. So again, I'm just going to put some glue on here. It doesn't really need to be like too crazy, but I just put some glue. Again, set that over to the side. I'm going to actually turn this over and I'm going to place it on to my ring like this because I think it'll be a little easier for me. And I'm just going to place it down and I'm just going to try to get it nice and even. I think that looks pretty even, so I think we're good. Okay, now once I've done that, I don't want to move it around too much, but our acetate is going in next. So the clear part is going in next. So for that, I'm just gonna put glue around the inner ring here. I don't use a ton because I don't want it to like splooge out, but I do use a little bit. And I'm just gonna get a nice seal around this. You want to make sure you do have like a good amount of glue, like your full like ring of glue, and then you're just gonna place your acetate inside your teeth. And if it get caught on your teeth, just push it past your teeth. It's okay. And then push your acetate down. And I'm using, the reason I did it this way is so that when I push the acetate down, I'm also pushing the outer ring down. So now everything should be relatively lined up. It's not perfect. I don't care. It's fine. Listen, again, it'll be hidden by most of the design part over here. So it'll be just fine. Now we do have 2 additional pieces. I'm gonna let this dry because I don't want to mess with it too much, but this is gonna be the ring that goes on the underside of the teeth, and then this will be your backing. So I'm gonna put the underside ring on next. Then we're gonna fill it with these super cute little like sprinkly things that I got.
For some reason, my camera audio cut out, but what I'm gonna do is use those clips because the glue does take a second to dry. So I'm going to use the clips and hold down the teeth with the glue on them, and then just sort of fold the next couple teeth down. I'm going to use 2 of the clips that I have from the Dollar Tree for this, and I'm just going to kind of slowly move my way around the sheet as like each set of teeth dry. Now this part did take a while because I did have to go in small increments. Gosh, if you know a better way to do this, by all means, please let me know, because I'm beginning to think maybe I should have done like double-sided tape so that I wasn't having to wait for the glue to dry. But please, I'm so open if you have suggestions on how to do these better, because I really rode the struggle bus on this.
We can put in our little shaker things. You can use really kind of anything you want, but the polymer clay things are really gonna like hold up and last. They're not gonna be like moldy and stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of dig in and pour a bunch in here. I kind of want this pretty full since I don't have anything over the front of my design, so I am going to use a lot of these. And I want you to know one thing that is kind of fun and I thought about is that you can come back once you've used your project, and if you don't want to like keep it, you just want to throw it away, before you do so, empty out your shaker pieces because you can save them. Now I'm going to kind of shake them down a little bit so I can see how full this is getting, because like I said, I do want this pretty dang full so that I'm not wasting like space. And I've got these little flags. Let me get these little guys off the top here. Toss those in. I'll do like 2 or 3 more pinches, I think. That'll be good. I think we'll do that many. Like I said, I do want this really full. It is going to be a little heavy, but that's fine. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your glue and you're going to put it all over the back piece here, because this is where we're going to put the solid circle. Now you do want to use a decent amount of glue for this because you do want to make sure that this is going to seal really nicely, and you want to get pretty close to the edge. And like I said, I do use quite a bit of glue for this part because I want it to really, really seal. Then I'm going to take my white disc, I'm going to place it over this, and I'm going to press this down. You don't want to press too hard, but you just want to press hard enough that you're going to get a good seal. I'm going to let this dry. I want to make sure that this part is super duper dry before I flip it over to place anything else on it, because I do still need to put our fun little design. Now, I am going to be honest, I forgot about the red piece to the bow, so my bow doesn't have the red piece, but that's okay. And then I did save my extra stars in case I wanted to use them for anything. Like I could very easily kind of add them anywhere on here, but I just sort of kept those to the side. So I did make one mistake, but that's okay. Let me let this dry and I'll show you how to glue this on, and then our shaker is done. I've let this dry, and now I want to go ahead and put that tip back on my glue. I just close it up so that, you know, it doesn't dry or anything. What you want to do is you're going to grab your backing piece, which is like this, and then you're going to grab your main piece. And all I'm going to do is glue around the edge. I'm going to do my best to kind of follow the circle, but like if it's a little off, it's a little off, but it'll be okay. But I'm just kind of following the circle around, and I'm just going to kind of redo that little section. And I'm just putting like a decent amount of glue. It's not like a ton. This is a precision tip, so like it's not like a boatload of glue. Then you want to flip it over and you want to line up your circle around your shaker piece. Just get that where you're happy. All right, that's pretty centered. I'm going to press this down. Now I am going to let this dry by itself for a little while. That way I can pick it up easier, and that way I'm not worried about like anything falling apart. I always want to just let it dry. That way I don't have to worry too much about anything. So I'm going to let this dry for a few hours, and I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like all up close, because it is so stinking cute.
This turned out so cute. I absolutely love it. If you guys have any questions or suggestions on how to glue those little teeth down better, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to link everything that I used for this video in the video's description. That way you can make one too. This was so fun. I can't wait to make more of these. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.